Warning! The following contains content that could result in a positive perspective on life, which some viewers may find motivational and inspirational. Subsequently, audiences may experience changes in behavior, such as becoming productive and determined. Please attempt to try this at home and occupy your place!
Welcome, occupiers, and thank you for joining me for the very first episode. Now today, as you can see, we're in a barbershop. Now I'm here to meet someone who's had a less than perfect start, experiencing many close shaves, things almost faded. However, he has literally done a graduation and shaped up to trim his way to being a cut above the rest. Trust me, you want to clip around for this one. So that's what you're looking for? Perfect, yep. That's what I do.
My life itself is it's a puzzle. I don't even know where to start, but I'm gonna start from somewhere. I never grew up like most people. I grew up in a foster house. My foster mother had 14 children, plus me and my little brother. I'm not a born British citizen, but as time grew on, my foster mother saw something in me that made her do whatever she did, right? And she took me to my first barbershop. I was stubborn. I didn't listen. I didn't really care about the shop. I didn't care because I was young and I didn't understand what was going on. I was really bad. I had anger issues, so many things, because I didn't grow up with my parents. They were there, but I never grew up with my parents, so it hit different. So I just had a chip on my shoulder. But within that chip, something clicked. But the best way to put this is, it's never what you're doing or going through in life, it's what you're becoming. Because life is a lesson. And I've learned a lot of lessons. Lessons of consistency, lessons of resilience, lessons of understanding suffering. Now, what is suffering? In life, everything you do is, before you get to the place of complacency, you suffer. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad, but you become something. Because you gotta ruffle some feathers before something happens. I'm dyslexic. And I learned that at a very early age in school. My way of learning was visually. I learned through seeing, and I'll see it long enough to do it. Words, like I said, dyslexia. But understanding what I was in school was what filled me into being who I am. So, learning. How I learned mattered. To me, how I learned mattered. Because I tried. I was always resilient. I've always been resilient. Right? But trying kept me going. Now, secondary school, I went Homerton Boys. And I got kicked out of school for the wrong reasons. But that was due to being bullied. And from being bullied, I became something else. College. I was an IT practitioner, funny enough. I did IT for 2 years. I enjoyed it. Came out with a pass. It was epic, but at the same time, I was also becoming something else. I like to cut my own hair. I like to cut friends' hair. Right? And then it all happened when I said, you know what? Maybe IT was not for me, but I was good at it too. But at the same time, I was still cutting hair whilst being a young man. Because I did start from the age of 12, just cutting me and my foster brothers and my brother. With my career, I found it was pretty much straightforward. Because once I made the decision not to carry on IT and actually focus, I focused to the extent whereby for every new barbershop or every new business I entered, it was never what I was doing. It was what I was becoming. Now, I work very well in a team, and I've always have been. I've always reassured my team members, even though they seemed unsure sometimes. I had my first boss, by the way, taught me how to set goals. My first boss, his name was James, right? And James worked in Romford. And before that, though, I did have another boss, but she too was getting to understand herself, right? But with James came lessons, not just lessons of just cutting hair. No, it was lessons of how to become a salesman. It was lessons of how to write my goals. It was lessons of the things that I wanted from life and money management. Then after that came Anderson Boyce. Anderson Boyce taught me a structure of time. And then it clicked. And then I realized that, hold on, wait a minute. I'm in a volume-based business that I can sell because I learned to sell, right? I can structure my time because I learned to structure my time. I could even deal with communicating. It's very simple. I understand customer service. Like I said, it was never what I was doing. It was always what I was becoming. And in life, it's always what you're becoming. Just as long as you pay attention and learn. Why I got into my industry. The why never came. But the first why was me. I like to cut my own hair. But I never saw it to become a career. I just saw it as, I just like to cut my own hair. But after my last place that I worked, which was Hair Force One, that actually taught me structure. Now the structure they taught me was my time. And plus my goals and understanding what I needed. So here's what happened one beautiful Saturday, stroke Monday. Went to work on a normal Saturday. It was fine. I was just actually on my way to being a parent. I was actually pretty much a parent at this time, right? And I had my goals in front of me. And then one day, something tragic happened which changed the course of my life. Now, I remember it was never what I was doing, but what I was becoming. But also not actually realizing that people also paid attention to what I was becoming, because one, I was the most disciplined person in my team. Somehow I reassured my team that their words meant so much more than they actually thought, because like I said, I read a lot. When the first time I read The Alchemist, my game changed. I've always been in the mindset of survival. I've never been a quitter. You know when you fall, never fall on your face. Yeah? Fall looking up. Now I fell looking up. The rest of my camp fell on their faces. So the first thing my resilient self turned around and did, I had no clippers, I had no way of, I didn't even understand how to even make money, but I still had a clientele base. I was all of this and I was still building a clientele. In a timeline where there was no social media, you was the main barber in your area, Word of mouth was the goal, right? But in this, I started to realize something. I did my 10,000 hours at some point, but recognition didn't come in. But I didn't need that. I didn't need no one's recognition. My only thing was just keep going. Because my whys were different. I have whys. You ever sit down and ask yourself, what's your why? Like, why do you get up in the morning? You understand what I'm saying? Like, so those things were very important to me. And then it clicked. I was an illegal immigrant. I had no passport, by the way. I was with a foster mother. Right? And then one day, after losing a place of work, guess what happened? My angel investor found me. Now, the only thing he could front was his name, plus some money. I could only flaunt money because I was also saving for whatever. And the minute I opened my first business, it was called Darth Faders. Now, Darth Faders set a course for the rest of my life, for the next 7 years. I started 6 o'clock every morning and I finished at 10 o'clock at night. But still, it was never what I was doing because I already become something new. And I actually had a whole business without even having something as simple as the right to remain or a working permit. Now, if that's not something, then I don't know. So after opening my business, 3 years into opening my business, I got married. Or 4, I got married, got my papers, got everything. Everything just started to happen. But something still needed to change. My structure was calling. Till now, I run an appointment system. I'm grateful. I keep clients in my chair year in, year out on a continuous basis, which I'm grateful for. Never be arrogant as well. Just always be grateful. I've been a barber 21 years. Professionally, 16 years. My greatest achievement was me touching my goals as a father, me touching my goals as a self-employed barber. But also came with a figure that I was chasing too. So you two got to know your figure. You set your days out with understanding a quota if you're self-employed. If you're on PAYE, you got to work your way up through the ranks. Understandable, just how that works. In terms of why I like what I do. Being in the service industry, it's service. First things first. You have to be at a place of making people feel so good about themselves that you forget. Because it's so easy to be kind to someone. It's very easy. You just have to choose that. So what happened to me and why I chose my career is because I just wanted to, 1, give people nice haircuts. 2, haircuts that they can step out confidently with. 3, an amazing conversation that makes you even think about what you're doing as a man, as a woman, in life. You may not want my 2 pence. I don't know if you want me to shut up, but hey, hey, it's just what it is. But why though? First, to teach, like on my mission statement. Once I made my goals, my next thing was 1, to teach people. 2, the young too got to grow. Because if you not teach the young how to fish, it's going to roam confused. So I also wanted to play a part in every young person's life. If I cut their hair, or I teach it to cut hair. That was why I opened my business. I've had so many, but not all of them stayed. But the best ones that stayed, I could name their names. Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is very good for personal development. Yeah. What's your drive? I know my drive. My drive is 1. Financial polarity. Success is a thing of the mind. Because everything's in abundance. Right? But polarity. Discipline. Right? Because without discipline, none of this is possible. There's no off days. The only off day you create is the one that you have. And that's even if you're too busy to even have an off day. Now, if you're not busy enough to have an off day, then what are you doing? There's no off days. If you're going to build something serious, there's no off days. Even building a business, there's no off days. When you build a business, you are the servant. But depending on the type of business. Right? If it's a service business where it requires you to be there, then you are the servant of that business. Because everything in that business has to come through a certain way. Now, in my career path, in the start, it was hard. You could probably go into the shop that day and probably make £20 that day. And what was £20 in a time? But focus. Discipline. Learning to be on your feet. Learning to be outspoken. And never be afraid to speak to someone. The least they're going to tell you is no. But then you're living in a realm where there's a lot of possibilities. And what came towards me was a lot of possibilities. Your mind is the one thing you need to sell. To your own self, by the way. Your mind will give you good, will give you bad. Right? But you too need to see this for yourself. Because if you do not see it, it won't come to you. Right? Someone once told me, you're in a realm where thoughts become things. See this? This is what you call a thought that became a thing. As of the same with you. Now, me understanding that was what kept me going. There was good days, there was bad days, there was cry days, there was anger days, there was upset days. Catch yourself, dialoguing, talking to yourself, understanding what you need to become to get where you need to get to. Now, once I understood the road of my career, it became a place that I needed to get to. It took really long. But every day, you wake up with the same mindset. And saying the right things matter. I was worthy of it. I am worthy of it. Infinite possibilities come my way. That's all I said. And I just believed and achieved. And when I look back, all I did was just be consistent and believe to achieve. I'm my biggest motivation. But then why I do what I do, my why has changed over the years. one thing you two will go through is your whys will change. But your whys have to be worthy of why. So my whys, in this age and this day and age, my kids, my wife, my family, those are my whys. And then there's my own self of being a generator and getting what I want. I don't have to kill someone for it. I don't have to stab someone for it. I can make someone feel good. And I get it. Just by cutting their hair. Yeah. Loyalty. Good morals. Being a good person. Kindness. Spoiling people with kindness. Even when you are frustrated. Never quit. Don't be a quitter. Be disciplined. I've met people that have helped me and shaped and molded me. But I had to be at a place of accepting their perspective. Now to that young guy out there, or to that young girl out there, life gets confusing. But I'm going to need you to be consistent at something. It's either something for your hand, something with your mind, but be consistent with something. I'm a barber, and I've been a barber since I was 12 years old. Yeah, at one point I didn't like it. But you grew to like it because you have to become. In everything you do in life, you have to become. And what you become, you have to also pay attention to. Now, on the road to success, there's lessons to be learned in money. How do you want to get paid? One, that's the most important. There's two ways. You could be a contractor, you could be self-employed, you could be a limited company. How do you want to get paid? A lot of things that nobody tell you guys, right? Understand money and you understand a lot of things. Now, what is money? Money is in abundance and money is everywhere. If that's your go-to, right? Everything you do is money. Your thought is money, but be at a place of service for money. My mindset, reading books, meditating, dialoguing, writing down my goals, because you have to have goals in life. If you have no goal, you have no vision. Who taught me that? A guy called Brian Tracy. A guy called Tony Robbins. But these are people that were taught to me by people who wanted me to become something of myself and not be like the rest of my peers. Useless and not knowing what to do with life. So, hey, young man or young girl, here's what I'm about. So, I've been a barber 20 years, right? And I've grown people. Now, when I mean grown people, it's more what you put into a young man or a young woman. And if they want it, they will think. If they don't want it, they won't think. They just say, yeah, this guy's just talking. Now, I know my purpose. My purpose is to be of service to you. I'm something called, in numerology, they call it a 33 life path. Meaning I'm here to influence and guide people. That's just knowing my purpose. Right? But in journey, I have suffered. Suffering is never good or bad. No. Because anything in life that's worth doing anything, you have to suffer. Like the farmer, you plant a seed. Before you see that tree, it's got to be stable in the ground first. Before you see the first leaf, even branch. And even then, you still have to go through something because you still got another 30, 40 years in front of you to reinvent yourself. Always. Now the mind, It's a very dangerous place. So you gotta watch that too. I say it all the time. It's never what you're doing. It's what you're becoming. It's never the time you give to a place. It's what you're becoming. It's never the time you work on your job. It's what you're becoming. It's never the time that teacher might frustrate you. It's what you're becoming. You never opened the doors to your future, so how would you know what the future looks like? So for every day you wake up, you open a new passage to your book and be grateful. Write a new story. This is your movie. What story would you want to tell? Never set expectations too high on anybody I want to be remembered as I am. A great teacher, a great person, a kind person. Somebody that if you met me on a normal day, your vibration changes the minute you meet me. Yeah, that's worth it. That's worth every penny. You see, gratitude shouldn't just be what you're thankful for right now or ever. But I'm a very grateful person. Grateful that, one, large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis in the best interest of all that I get to keep, spend and use. I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful because I'm healthy. I'm also grateful because I'm a healthy businessman. I'm healthy. You just have to be grateful. I can keep going. But you see, in life, life will give you ups, life will give you downs. I'm always grateful for the bad because in the bad, I learn something. In the good, I am complacent. So, in other words, gratuity should never be stopped. Be grateful. Every opportunity, every possibility, every time you wake up, be grateful. Look at it like this in life: when it's good, it's bad. When it's bad, it's good. Because when it's bad, you're going to learn something. When it's good, you're going to be complacent. Until it's bad again, then you learn something, then it's good again. That is a cycle of life. It's good, it's bad. It's good, it's bad. It's good for a while, it's bad for a while. And in anything, life is like the seasons. It's good one season, it's bad one season. It's only down to the goals in which I have set. Now, one thing is that when the goals are possible, not if the goals are possible, when the goals are possible. New shops, more barbers, more hair, you know what I mean? More contractors, more, you know what I mean? A lot can happen. I'm already doing a lot right now. I've got product line, I've got products, I've got staff, they come and go, I do apprenticeships. I am pretty much doing exactly how I envisioned my business. Teach one to know one. Teach one new, he knows something. He wants the job, carry on. Show him how to make money, explain money. It's my job. And it's who I've actually chosen to be. I am is already enough. I'm a businessman. I'm a father. I'm a father of 4. I run a barbering business. I don't run a barber shop. I run a barbering business. I'm an intellectual. Only trying to make it. Now, you see I use that word try. I don't really mean that. That try means I'm not doing. I am doing. So you too have to do. So you see your I am. is actually where the magic lies. That's the magic right there. I am. Because for every time you are, that I am. Whatever you want it to bring you, either good, bad, it will bring you. But I am. I am all that the universe requires me to be. Just a master teacher. Grateful. Done.
Occupied.
Oh yes.